What happens when your RPG character wakes up inside the game, and you're a 7-foot-tall skeleton with knight armor and no skincare routine? This is the story of Ark, the most polite undead hero to ever accidentally terrify everyone he meets. We kick things off with a peaceful shot of a man snoozing under a tree, peaceful until he woke up mid-dream like he just realized it was Monday. This man was Ark, our unlucky protagonist. He sat up, blinking at the alien landscape around him, full silver armor gleaming like he'd spawned straight out of a fantasy game loading screen. Confused but curious, Ark muttered to himself that this was Pinus' sacred armor, the same legendary gear he'd once worn in his favorite RPG, the one resistant to both fire and light. And then it hit him. The armor, the weapons, the name, everything matched his old game character. Either he'd been sucked into a digital fever dream or someone had spiked his energy drink with ice sky dust. When he picked up his sword, the Thunder Blade Cladio, the weight in his hands told him the truth. This wasn't a dream. This was painfully, gloriously real. Naturally, his first instinct wasn't to panic. Nope, he decided to test his stats. He swung his sword once and basically deleted half the forest. Then, on a whim, he tried casting magic, and accidentally barbecued a tree with a fireball. It was official. He was a holy knight with both biceps and fireballs. Gamer heaven. But power fantasy or not, reality soon hit, literally in the stomach. He was starving and broke. No coins, no food, no clue. He tried teleporting to a town using a magic gate, but the spell fizzled. Apparently, the fast travel button was locked until further notice. So he decided to walk. On the way, he stopped by a river to drink and made the grave mistake of removing his helmet. One glance at his reflection and he realized the terrible truth. He was a skeleton in shining armor. The gamer had officially become the ultimate Halloween knight. If people saw him like this, they'd scream monster before hero. So he swore never to show his face, or lack thereof, again. After some travel, he stumbled upon a village that smelled like heaven's kitchen. With no money, all he could do was inhale the delicious air and weep internally. Then drama, a woman yelling down an alley at some poor guy. She barked that the job was to investigate, not guarantee success. She stormed off, leaving the man shaking. Ark's jaw nearly hit the floor. He recognized her. Elf, a familiar name from his old world. Before he could say a word, she vanished faster than a loot box in a gacha sale. Distracted but determined, Ark found himself in front of a mercenary guild. The clerk, polite but unimpressed, told him he'd need a license, and to earn it he had to kill 3 targets: monsters, beasts, or bandits. Easy, Ark thought, and walked out like he was speed-running the questline. He took out 2 beasts in minutes, saving the third for dessert. When a massive creature charged from the woods, he grinned like a kid unboxing an SSR drop. One slash, the monster split clean in half. Mission complete. But fate as always loved drama. He heard screams nearby, a carriage under attack by bandits. Inside were 2 terrified women. Ark hesitated to kill humans, until one of the men tried to do something along the lines of P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein. #release the files. That hesitation vanished. He appeared behind the man like a horror movie jump scare and ended him instantly. The rest of the bandits barely had time to scream before meeting the same fate. The maid introduced herself as Rita, and the noblewoman was Lauren of House Liu. Ark politely asked them to change clothes while he cleaned up the battlefield, as if killing and looting were just part of his daily cardio. Later, Lauren thanked him and asked him to escort them home. Ark agreed because even skeletons need friends, and maybe food. On the way, Rita asked his name. He introduced himself simply, Arkansas. Back at the guild, the clerk was stunned at how fast he'd finished the job. She handed him his license, explained the use of soul stones, magical loot for crafting, and sent him on his way. Ark booked an inn, ordered a feast, and savored every bite like a man reborn. Holding a glowing stone, he realized this world wasn't a game, it was his new reality. And he was ready to break it. The next day he picked an easy mission, escorting a girl gathering medicinal herbs. He arrived at a small house where a nervous girl opened the door. Her name was Mara. She flinched at the sight of the towering armored knight until he introduced himself as her escort. Relieved, she offered him tea and suggested they leave immediately. Ark agreed, but noticed she was walking like she was being chased by a deadline. After some coaxing, Mara confessed that she was sneaking out behind her mother's back. Her mom would have locked her inside if she knew. Mara wanted to help gather herbs like her late father once did. Ark, who at her age had only cared about gaming and napping, felt equal parts inspired and ashamed. As she picked herbs, Ark marveled at her knowledge, until his battle instincts kicked in. Something moved. He told her to stay back and braced himself, only to find a squirrel. To his amusement, when he healed the little creature, it practically adopted him on the spot. Mara teased him that he'd gained a pet and told him to name it. After some thought, he dubbed it Pont, and the squirrel responded like it had just unlocked friendship level 10. Meanwhile, back at the village, Mara's mother Siona learned her daughter had run off with a large armored knight, which sounded way worse than it actually was. In the forest, Mara cheered as she found the tree she needed, but Ark suddenly felt the air shift. He ordered her to move just as a giant lizard burst out of the trees. Mara froze in terror, but Ark yanked her away with superhuman speed. The creature roared, unleashing toxic mist, and Ark teleported them both to safety. From a distance, he studied the monster like a gamer analyzing raid mechanics. Even mid-level players would have died instantly here. When the beast attacked again, Ark deflected its tongue, blocked a petrifying strike with his shield, and decided playtime was over. He unleashed one of his Holy Knight ultimate skills. Light flared beneath the monster, and a massive golden sword erupted from the ground, slicing it clean in half. But something strange happened. The bracelet around the monster's leg vanished. Ark knew this wasn't a random spawn. Something bigger was behind it. Ark, ever the cautious skeleton, told her to keep everything secret. She promised, and before leaving, he spotted a boar in the distance. Ever the multitasker, he decided to hunt it. The boar was huge, like, feed the whole town for a week huge. Villagers stared, half impressed, half terrified that something this monstrous had actually lived that close to them. Among the onlookers was Siona, Mara's mother, who bolted toward her daughter and wrapped her up in the kind of hug that said, "You're grounded for life, but I'm so glad you're alive." Ark stepped up and apologized for letting Mara tag along. But Siona wasn't angry. When she realized her daughter had gone to help, not to wander off on some teenage rebellion quest, she actually thanked Ark for protecting her. It was one of those rare moments where being a hero didn't just pay in coin. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Ark said his goodbyes, waved to Mara and her family, and hit the road again, because rest is for people without main character syndrome. That night, deep in the forest, a squad of armored soldiers was having the worst day imaginable. They were locked in combat with a beast just like the one Ark had killed earlier. It wasn't going well. By the time the monster finally went down, half their squad was either unconscious or questioning their life choices. The strange bracelet that had been glowing on the creature's limb vanished the second it died, just like before. A blonde soldier turned to his commander. "Sir, the cost was high. You need to see this." They approached the other corpse, the one Ark had killed. One clean blow. That was it. The commander froze. One man did this? Meanwhile, Ark was back at his room, casually eating with Pont like nothing had happened. "Starting tomorrow," he muttered, "I'll take on tougher missions. More dangerous ones." Pont squeaked in agreement, or maybe in protest, but either way the plan was set. Time passed. One night, Ark crept through a dark cave where every echo sounded like a warning. Ahead, the flicker of torches revealed terrified faces, bandits. The mission was simple: wipe them out. Spoiler, they didn't stand a chance. In a flurry of movement, Ark cut them down before most of them even knew he was there. When the dust settled, something in the back of the cave caught his attention. A curtain. Because sure, that's not suspicious at all. He pulled it aside and found a literal mountain of gold gleaming in the dim light. His eyes widened. Well, that's definitely not in the job description. His excitement, however, dimmed when he noticed the iron cages and empty bowls scattered around. Prison cells. Someone had been kept here. Recently. Ark frowned, weighing his options. Then shrugged. Not my circus, not my hostages. He started scooping up gold. Cut to a palace so rich it made the gold look like pocket change. Inside sat a man whose face screamed, "Politician with too much power." A servant approached with a report. "Lord Maris," the servant began, "the mercenary squad failed to kill Rowan, the governor's daughter of Louvain province." Maris' expression darkened. Failed? Against one girl? Apparently, another mercenary appeared and eliminated them. He demanded updates on the beasts from the Eastern Kingdom. Then about Prince Decaris. The servant hesitated before explaining. The North's got two princes, Saket and Decaris. The East is backing Decaris, the West got Saket and Louvain's with Saket. If the West figures out our support for Decaris, they'll crush us, Maris finished, scowling. The servant nodded, moving on to talk about the new product ready for market. He warned Maris not to draw attention from Princess Uriana. Finally, Maris asked about his son. "He's overseeing the distribution personally, my lord." Maris leaned back with a sigh that practically said, what could possibly go wrong? Back to Ark. He was walking out of the cave, then shing, a flash of steel sliced the air. Ark barely tilted his head as a sword whooshed past. The next strike came faster, but he caught it with his own blade. When he looked up, his eyes widened. It was her, the elf from the city. Return the children you kidnapped, she demanded, eyes blazing. Wait, what? Ark said, incredulous. You think I'm the bad guy? I don't talk to filthy humans who prey on others, she snapped, raising her sword again. Before Ark could retort, Pont waddled into view. The elf froze, her sword faltering. How can a spiritual creature be with a human? She whispered. Ark blinked. What creature now? She explained, voice softening, that spiritual beings were nearly extinct, and even when they weren't, they avoided humans like taxes. But if Pont had chosen Ark, that meant one thing: he'd saved its life. Her hostility melted into shock. She sheathed her sword and bowed slightly. My apologies. I was mistaken. Yeah, Ark said dryly. You think? He then asked what she was doing there. She explained that bandits had been kidnapping elf children and selling them as slaves. The cages. The bowls. It all clicked. He told her he hadn't found any children in the cave, which made her expression darken. I was too late. Ark offered to help, but she shot him down immediately. This is our problem. We don't need human help. She turned and disappeared into the trees, leaving Ark standing there, staring at the spot where she'd been. That night, over dinner, he mumbled to himself, I'm helping her anyway. Pont just sighed. Or squeaked judgmentally, it was hard to tell. The next day, Ark entered the elves' forest, searching for her. The air was thick with tension, and then he heard it. A scream. He ran toward the sound and saw a girl fleeing through the trees. Behind her, a bandit grabbed her by the arm, yelling for his leader, Olden, the governor's son. Olden strutted into view with the kind of arrogance only inherited wealth can buy. Only children again? He sneered. Useless. He pointed his sword at the trembling girl. Beg for your life or I'll carve it out of you. She pleaded, sobbing, but he struck her anyway, laughing like the villain in every story who doesn't make it to episode 3. Ark's hand tightened on his sword, but before he could move, a familiar shadow dropped from above. The elf. In one motion, she decapitated 2 of Olden's men and shouted, You monsters! I'll kill you all. One of the thugs screamed, A dark elf. She's worth a fortune. Big mistake. She cut off his hand before he could take another step. The forest erupted into chaos. Steel clashed, blood flew, and for a moment, it looked like she might actually win, until Olden grabbed another girl from the cage, pressing his sword to her neck. Drop your weapon, he sneered, or the girl dies. The elf froze, fury and despair flashing across her face. Olden grinned, certain he'd won. And then Ark appeared behind him. Sorry, he said, I can't keep my promise to stay out of this. Wow. One hit and Olden was out cold. The remaining bandits turned in panic just in time to see their doom. Ark and the elf cut them down like storm and shadow. When it was over, they rushed to the cages. The children were alive, but each had a strange collar around their necks. Magic seals, the elf muttered. They prevent them from using their abilities. I can't remove them. Ark crouched, studying one. Can't, huh? Let's see about that. He raised his hand, muttered an incantation. The collar snapped open. The elf's eyes widened. But the real shocker came when Ark casually healed the wounded girl, like it was nothing. No fancy pose, no divine chanting, just a wave of his hand and boom, all better. Arya's jaw practically hit the forest floor. Wait, you can use healing magic? Her brain was doing backflips. After freeing the children, Arya called in some backup. A glowing bird, because of course the elves use bird mail, zipped into the sky carrying her message. Before long, 2 elves arrived, scooped up the rescued kids, and disappeared faster than you could say child trafficking subplot. When the dust finally settled, Arya turned to Ark, eyes still wide. Who exactly are you? You've got magic that shouldn't exist and skills no human should have. Ark smiled, the kind of calm grin that said, Yeah, I know I'm cool, but let's not make it weird. I'm just a warrior, he said. And this little guy, he gestured to Pont, is my travel buddy. That's when we got her name, Arya. Turns out she wasn't just any elf, she was one of the tribe's warriors. She thanked Ark sincerely, but before either could relax, another spirit bird dive-bombed into the scene with a fresh message. Another kidnapping ring, this time in Dento province. Arya looked at him and said, Didn't you say you were a mercenary? I could use your help. Ark didn't even hesitate. Yeah, I'm in. Ark squinted at her. Your people might not be thrilled about me tagging along. She nodded. They probably won't. Most elves don't trust humans. But when I saw you, I didn't see hate or greed. Just a guy doing his best. Enpont trusts you. Spirits don't make mistakes. Well then, I accept. Let's save some people. Moments later, Ark opened a teleportation gate like it was a weekend errand. Arya's eyes widened. You can use teleportation magic? That's insanely rare. Ark shrugged. Handy for skipping traffic. They stepped through and appeared near a shimmering river, Dento Province gleaming in the distance. Arya was impressed. Ark just looked like he was trying not to throw up from the motion sickness. Soon after they entered the bustling streets. Arya told him they were meeting an ally named Danka. Ark instantly imagined a stunning elf beauty. Maybe long silver hair, a mysterious smile, then a deep male voice called, Arya. Ark's fantasy shattered like glass. Danka turned out to be a guy. Ark sighed. Of course. Arya made introductions. This is Ark, the mercenary who helped me. Cut to the trio sitting in a restaurant. Arya offered food but Ark refused. Not out of politeness but because, well, removing his helmet in public would turn dinner into a horror show. Arya explained Danka wasn't just a friend. He was another warrior from her tribe. Danka leaned in, voice serious. The kidnapped girls are being held in the entertainment district. But it's crawling with guards. We wait till nightfall. Ark stood. I'll run a few errands and meet you in an hour. Translation. I'm starving and need to eat somewhere without traumatizing anyone. After he left, Danka muttered, You really trust this guy? Arya sighed. If it weren't for him I'd be dead. Or worse. So yeah, I trust him. Danka softened. You're not weak, Arya. Even your sister had to start somewhere. Arya gave a tired smile. Maybe. But I'll never be her. Meanwhile, Ark sold the loot from the bandit hideout and bought enough food to feed a small village. He found a quiet spot, took off his helmet, and finally ate like a man who hadn't had a proper meal in days. Back at the prison, the kidnapped elf girls huddled in their cell. One defiant voice spoke up, Someone will come for us. You'll all regret this. The guards laughed. Sure, sweetheart. Maybe the fairy godmother too. Cut to nightfall. The rescue squad, Arya, Danka and Ark, moved like shadows through the alleys. Unbeknownst to them, a figure was watching from a rooftop. Small, agile and very interested. The back entrance was heavily guarded. Ark whispered, Want me to teleport us in? Arya frowned. Too risky. Before she could finish, pop. They were inside. They crept deeper into the building, and instantly regretted it. Someone had beaten them to it. They split up. Ark moved down one corridor and spotted movement. Reflexively, he blocked a thrown blade that whistled past his face. Out of the shadows stepped a catgirl ninja. Tail, ears, the whole package. Ark blinked. Okay. Didn't have Ninja Nico on my bingo card tonight. The girl froze. You can see me? He nodded. Tail kinda gives it away. She scowled but didn't attack. Not after spotting Pont. No one with a spirit companion could be evil, she said softly. They talked. She explained she was also there to save the girls, and that 2 of them were being held in Governor Dento's mansion. Before leaving, she handed Ark some papers. These will help. Oh, and try not to die. Ark flipped through the documents and froze. Slave trade records, with Governor Dento's name all over them. He rejoined Arya and Danka, waving the papers. Guess what? Our friendly neighborhood governor's in on the elf trade. Arya frowned. Where did you get this? I interrogated a guard. Ark lied smoothly, keeping Cat Ninja confidential. Their plan was simple. Rescue the captives first, then hit the mansion. That's when a guard stumbled into the room. Who are you people? Arya burned him to ash before he finished. They pushed forward, cutting through the guards like a pair of divine lawnmowers. When they reached the cells, Arya comforted the terrified girls. Ark broke their magic collars with ease, which made Danka practically short-circuit. You can just remove curses like that? Yeah, Ark said casually. It's kind of my thing. Once the girls were safe, Danka led them away while Ark and Arya teleported straight to the governor's mansion. Meanwhile, on a distant rooftop, our mysterious ninja watched. That night he gets it, she whispered. We'll meet again. Inside the mansion things were far less poetic. Governor Triton, yes, that Triton, Olden's father, was screaming at his son for screwing up. Olden stood there trembling, clearly one bad decision away from another beating. Before Triton could finish his rant, Ark and Arya arrived in style. Who are you? Triton bellowed. Arya smirked. We're the ones here to collect your debt, in elves. The captive girls lit up with hope. Olden screamed like a toddler, trying to bolt, but Arya nailed Triton with a blow that folded him in half. She ran to free the girls while Ark blocked Olden's escape. You again? Ark said, unimpressed. Didn't I knock you out last time? Olden fainted before answering. Ark sighed. Thought so. Then his hand brushed a wall, and part of it collapsed, revealing a secret vault stuffed with gold. Meanwhile, Arya dragged Triton into the main hall and handed him over to the freed elves. He broke the treaty, she said coldly. He's yours. Ark of course was in the vault, confiscating a few bars of gold. When Arya caught him he deadpanned, if this stays here, someone else might use it to start another slavery ring. She narrowed her eyes. Fair point. Then the mansion exploded again, this time for real. Was that you? Ark shouted over the chaos. Arya shook her head. Not me. Then we're leaving. He opened a teleportation gate, and the two vanished just as the building collapsed. They reappeared by the river, treasure and all. Your payment. Not as much as that gold, but fair enough. Ark chuckled. I'll take it. She smiled softly. Come with me to Elia, the land of the elves. Ark froze. A human, well, sorta, in the elven capital? That was like a cat walking into a dog park. Would they even let me in? You'll need permission from the Chosen One, she said. But first you'll have to remove your armor. Ark stiffened. That's not a good idea. Why? She pressed. He sighed. Because the moment you see my face you might scream. She folded her arms. Try me. So he did. Piece by piece the armor came off. Arya's eyes widened in disbelief. Ark was a skeleton. She stumbled back. What happened to you? He avoided her gaze. I'm cursed, I think. That's all I know. Arya studied him quietly. If you were truly undead you couldn't use healing or light magic. Even Pont wouldn't stay near you. Whatever you are, it's not evil. Ark looked at her, unsure whether to laugh or cry. She continued, maybe the Chosen One can explain. Until then your secret's safe. He nodded and they shook hands, a warrior and a skeleton knight, allies bound by trust and chaos. Cut to Olaf, the royal capital. King Carlin sat with his children, discussing the assassination of a governor. Prince Sect, rumors say the elves did it. The king stated that rumors are for peasants. Well, the guy was kidnapping elves. Prince Decreus slammed his fist. Lies. Humans don't stoop that low. The king sighed, clearly regretting having more than one child. Enough. We investigate before we accuse. Uriana volunteered to negotiate with the elves personally. The king agreed, mainly to get her out of the room. Meanwhile, Ark and Arya traveled toward Elia. They camped by a river, sharing food, laughter, and the awkward silence of two people pretending they weren't kind of becoming friends. Elsewhere, Uriana stewed in frustration. My brother Karaz is definitely behind the slave trade, she muttered. Her maid smirked. If he falls, that means... Uriana glared. Finish that sentence and you're walking home. Their next stop, Limbat City, home of her married sister. Back to Ark and Arya, they finally arrived at Latoya, an elven settlement straight out of a painting. Houses built into trees, glowing lights, the air humming with magic. Arya approached the gate guards, exchanged words, and told Ark to wait while she sought the Chosen One's permission. He and Pont sat by the gate. Hours passed. The sun dipped low. Pont fell asleep. Finally, Arya returned, smiling. You're in. Inside, Ark gawked like a tourist. Every tree was a work of art. But what caught his eye most was a massive, ancient tree dominating the center. That's the Chosen One's home. Come on. They entered and met Arya's parents. Her father, Dylan, the Chosen One himself. Her mother, Glenys. Ark froze. Wait, you're a princess? Arya gave a little shrug. Surprise. Dylan thanked Ark for saving his daughter but voiced concern that storming a governor's mansion could ignite a war. Arya defended herself passionately, and Ark backed her up, describing the horrors he'd seen. Dylan finally agreed to take the matter to the Council of Elders. Glenys brought food, and Arya assured Ark it was fine to eat without his helmet. For the first time he ate with a family, no judgment, no fear. The next morning, Arya and her father departed for the council. Glenys offered to show Ark around the village. Everywhere they went, elves stared at him like he was an exhibit. Then they ran into two girls he'd rescued. They thanked him tearfully and ran off. Glenys turned to him with a sly smile. How about a duel? Ark blinked. Wait, what? She smiled wider. If you're traveling with my daughter, I need to see if you're strong enough to protect her. Don't worry. I'm not just a mom. I'm one of the elves born with innate power. The battle began. Glenys launched forward like a storm in human form. Ark tried to dodge but still caught a clean hit that sent him sprawling into the dirt. Graceful as always, even while knocking him around, Glenys couldn't resist coaching him. Your stance is off, she said, circling. Too much weight on your back foot. Ark groaned, half buried in dust. Noted. Come on, she called, sword glinting. Get up. We're not done yet. In his heart, Ark muttered, I must learn the art of the sword. But no matter how hard he tried, Glennis remained untouchable. Every swing he made, she countered effortlessly, like she'd already read his next 5 moves and written the footnotes. Meanwhile, Arya and her father were returning from the council meeting. Arya apologized, but her father waved it off with a sigh. "Your intentions were good," he said. "You'll continue your mission to liberate the elves. And this time, Ark will accompany you officially." Arya blinked. Wait officially?" "Yes," her father said, almost smirking. "Try not to destroy anything on the way." As they traveled, he remembered that they were near the home of his other daughter, Ivan, and suggested they visit. Arya nearly tripped. "Ivan?" Moments later, Ivan came running down the path, practically tackling Arya with a hug that could snap ribs. Their reunion was emotional, warm, and just slightly suffocating. "I'm so proud of you," Ivan said, eyes shining. "I've heard how many elves you've rescued." Arya blushed and looked away. "I still have a long way to go," she mumbled. They sat together for a while, chatting about Ivan's engagement and upcoming wedding plans. Eventually, Arya bid her sister farewell, promising to bring a gift that would actually survive the trip this time. Back with Ark, he was still dueling with Glennis, and still losing. Exhausted, bruised, and slightly humiliated, he decided to improvise. "All right," he muttered, "time for a surprise." In an instant, he teleported behind her. Glennis flinched, just for a second, before spinning with blinding speed and landing 3 rapid hits that sent him tumbling again. She laughed, sheathed her sword, and said, "That's enough sparring for today. Some of us have jobs." Ark just sat there, panting in the dirt. "She's no joke," he muttered. "Even with high stats, real strength isn't just numbers." That night, as everyone gathered, Dylan arrived with the council's verdict. "The council will continue investigating the elven abduction case," he said gravely. "They also want to keep rescuing those still imprisoned. Which is where you come in, Arkansas." Ark raised a brow. "Let me guess, no pay?" Dylan grinned. "Not much gold, no. But valuable information. There's a spring near a place called Crown Sovereign, said to dispel any curse." Ark's interest sharpened. "Where is it?" "Deep within a massive forest," Dylan explained. "The Dragon Lord lives there. Humans tend to avoid the area because, well, survival instincts. So, we're going into a dragon's backyard." "Great." Arya smiled faintly. "The elves might grant us entry. If they do, I'll go with you." Ark smirked. "Then I'll make sure to protect you, with my sword, of course." Later that night, Ark lay in bed, staring at his skeletal hand. The words "dispel any curse" wouldn't leave his mind. Could it be, "Am I truly cursed?" He whispered a spell and cast it on his arm. To his shock, his hand turned human. Warm flesh, real skin. He stared at it like it was the 8th wonder of the world. Then, poof, it reverted back to bone. He tried again. And again. Each time the same cruel joke. A brief miracle, then back to skeleton chic. A chilling doubt crept in. Is this curse regenerating itself? The next morning, Ark and Arya set off toward Olaf, the kingdom's capital, to continue investigating the elven smuggling case. Ark, silent for most of the road, couldn't shake the thought. A regenerating curse. Wonderful. Arya noticed his expression. "What's wrong?" He forced a smile. "Nothing. Everything's fine." Moments later, she pointed ahead. "We're about to exit the forest." The moment they stepped out, a horde of giant insects charged straight at them. Ark did what any brave, cursed adventurer would do. He screamed and ran in the opposite direction. Arya laughed the entire time. A short while later, they sat in a cozy roadside restaurant. Arya sipped her drink with a teasing grin. "So, afraid of bugs?" Ark crossed his arms defensively. "Afraid? No, just respectfully avoiding death by oversized cockroach." She chuckled and unfolded a map. "Tomorrow we'll cut through the forest center. It's faster than taking the long route. Shortcut through monster territory." "Classic," Ark said. "Let's do it." The elderly woman who owned the restaurant overheard them. She approached, shaking her head. "Be careful, dearies. The forest's cursed. 10 people entered last month. None came back." Arya smiled politely, but her eyes betrayed concern. Ark, meanwhile, puffed his chest. "We'll be fine. We're kind of professionals at nearly dying." Meanwhile, Princess Uriana's royal carriage rolled toward the city of Limlot. Far away, atop a shadowed tower, a masked figure watched her silently, his face hidden, his intentions unclear. Back with Ark and Arya, the forest loomed once again. They ventured deeper until they reached its heart, the rumored home of monsters. Ark glanced at Arya. "You look serious. Thinking about something?" She nodded. "The wolves the old woman mentioned, haunted wolves. Their tails are soft and used as wedding gifts. My sister's getting married soon. I want to get her one." Ark grinned. "Nothing says, 'Congrats on marriage,' like a dismembered wolf tail." She rolled her eyes. "It's a symbol, Arkansas." Before he could reply, the forest went silent. Both sensed movement. In a blur, a wolf lunged at Ark, but his blade met it midair, slicing it cleanly in two. The wolf vanished, just disappeared. An illusion, he muttered. More wolves appeared, surrounding Arya. She fought back, but they too flickered away like ghosts. Ark remembered, these beasts thrived on deception. Their alpha commanded illusions like a puppeteer. No matter how many they struck, more appeared. The pack was endless. Arya shouted a spell, launching a fireball that vaporized 3 wolves. When even more appeared, she slammed her hand to the ground, channeling earth magic. The resulting shockwave wiped the clearing clean. Ark, wide-eyed, could only whistle. Remind me never to argue with you. Still, he realized the trick. Take out the alpha. He looked up, and there it was, standing majestically on a cliff. In a flash, Ark teleported beside it and swung, but the alpha dodged effortlessly. On its leg gleamed a strange bracelet, the same kind he'd seen on the lizard monsters before. Then another wolf appeared behind him, fangs bared. Ark's cloak flared with automatic defense magic, blasting the beast back like a ragdoll. He seized the moment and shattered the alpha's bracelet. The wolf froze, eyes clearing as if waking from a nightmare. It howled once, then withdrew, calling the pack off. Arya rushed up, watching as the bracelet disintegrated into dust. Ark explained what he'd seen. These monsters aren't acting naturally. Someone's controlling them. Arya nodded gravely, cutting one of the fallen wolves' tails. Then we'll find out who. For now, this one's for my sister. Ark smirked. Nothing says family love like slaying an illusion wolf together. Princess Uriana's carriage continued along the dusty path. Inside, her maid Vera noticed her unease. You seem tense, Your Highness, she said softly. Uriana sighed. This mission was ordered by the king and meant to be secret, but I can't shake the feeling something's wrong. I suspect my brother's involved in the slave trade. Before Vera could respond, the carriage suddenly jolted. The horses reared, and shadows emerged on the road ahead. Meanwhile, Ark was waiting for Arya to finish her preparations, lost in thought. I have so many skills, he mused, but if I can't use them properly, they're just fancy buttons with no manual. He was just about to ask Arya for more training when Pont's ears perked up. The little creature growled, clearly sensing something. Oh, Ark muttered, that's never a good sign. He told Arya to stay put and followed Pont into the forest. Back at the carriage, chaos erupted. The royal guards fell one by one until the attackers surrounded the coach. Only Uriana and Vera remained inside. One mercenary approached the door and yanked it open. Vera, dagger in hand, stood ready. But in a single brutal instant, she was stabbed through the heart. The princess screamed and rushed to her side, only to be struck down herself. The mercenaries cheered, boasting that a traitorous soldier had helped them. He handed their leader the princess's pendant with a grin. But before they could celebrate further, Pont dropped from the sky and latched onto the traitor's face like a furry missile. As he screamed and flailed, Ark appeared behind him, grabbed his arm, and snapped it without a word. The mercenaries attacked, but their blades simply bounced off him. Oh, you poor fools, Ark muttered. You picked the wrong cursed skeleton today. Then came an unexpected twist. The wolves returned, the same ones Ark had freed earlier, howling as they tore into the mercenaries in repayment. Ark finished the job quickly and rushed to the princess's side. Channeling a glowing spell, he resurrected both Uriana and Vera, healing their wounds. The other soldiers weren't so lucky, their injuries were too severe. When the princess's eyes fluttered open, she saw Ark bathed in golden light and whispered weakly, "An angel?" before fainting again. Later, she awoke to Vera's voice. Your Highness, are you all right? Uriana jolted upright. I saw you die. Vera checked herself, wide-eyed. Well, I woke up without a scratch, so I'm not complaining. Uriana gasped. Then it wasn't a dream. It's a miracle. Later, she gathered the surviving soldiers and addressed them firmly. We continue our journey. Our mission carries the weight of the kingdom. From a distance, Ark watched her and smirked. I thought she was just another noble. Guess she's the real deal. He returned to Arya soon after. You took your time, she said, crossing her arms. Where were you? Nowhere important, he replied casually. Just running late from divine intervention. Upon reaching the capital, Ark was immediately captivated by the city's energy. Street performers, merchants, and shouting vendors. It was chaos, but the good kind. Then came a commotion in the crowd. A young girl approached Ark with a grin. I'm glad to see you again. It was the same ninja girl he'd met at Marquis Maris's mansion. Arya raised an eyebrow. Care to explain? Ark rubbed his neck awkwardly. She's the one who gave me the info about the elves being enslaved. The girl bowed slightly. I'm Kyome of the Genjin clan, one of the 6 ninja. Wait, ninja? Ark blinked. Like actual ninja? Kyome gave him a puzzled look. You know that word? In my homeland, he said, we have spies who wear the same outfits. We call them ninja. Her eyes widened. That name is sacred. It was given by our founder centuries ago. Only our clan knows it. That revelation hit Ark like a truck. Hold up, the founder? What was his name? Hanzo, she said simply. Of course it's Hanzo, Ark thought. It's always Hanzo. When she mentioned that Hanzo lived 600 years ago, Ark realized what that meant. Another person like him had been transported to this world long before. Arya brought the conversation back on track. Kyome, what did you need from us? Kyom hesitated, clearly troubled. My comrades, demi-humans, have been captured. I need help freeing them. In return, I can give you information on the people you're after. Ark frowned. I'd like to help, but I'm already committed to Arya's mission. But Arya saw the pain in Kyom's eyes, recognizing her own reflection in that struggle. We'll help, she said firmly. Ark sighed. Well, there goes my plan for a quiet evening. Elsewhere in the royal palace, Prince Kara's raged. The haunted wolves had stopped obeying orders. A trembling servant spoke up. My lord, perhaps someone broke the seal. Daria turned sharply. Does that mean Uriana is still alive? It's possible, the servant admitted. She's been avoiding detection. Karas clenched his fists. Could she be working with the elves? Stryan, his escort, stepped forward calmly. All reports indicate elven involvement. Karas paced anxiously. Are they targeting me now? You have a safe house, Stryan said. It's best to lay low. Once Karas left, Stryan stared at the princess's necklace twined around his hand, his expression unreadable. Back in the forest, Ark questioned Kyom further. The founder, Hanzo, he said. He gathered humans and beast folk, right? She nodded. He protected the oppressed and built our clan. Ark's suspicion grew stronger. Definitely Japanese. Probably ate ramen between revolutions. Their journey led them to Atsat, the largest slave market in the capital. The place reeked of cruelty and coin. Two slavers whispered nearby. We're almost at the delivery quota. Prince Karas will be pleased. Kyom briefed them on the plan. Atsat is heavily guarded. A direct assault will draw the royal army, but we'll strike fast and escape before they can react. The others will attack 4 more markets simultaneously. Ark frowned. So this one's bait, meaning lots of people might die. Kyom lowered her head. Not everyone will survive, but if we don't act, none will. He nodded grimly. Then let's make sure it counts. Preparations began. Ark offered, I can use teleportation to move fast. Kyom's eyes widened. That's the founder's chronogate technique. Ark shrugged. Where I'm from, we just call it saving time. That night, they gathered near the forest. Ark wore a mask, for dramatic effect, he claimed. Kyom introduced a new ally. This is Gali, one of the 6 ninja. Ark blinked. Wait, Gali? As in the famous ninja from my world. Kyom smirked. The name is a title. The founder gave each of the 6 those names. Ark nodded slowly. Yep, definitely Japanese. The attack began. Arya and Kyom flanked the back gate while Ark and Gali charged the front. The guards shouted warnings, but it was too late. Ark slammed his hands to the ground. Earth Magic, Boulder Edition. Massive rocks erupted, crushing their defenses. Gali followed up, his technique corroding every weapon it touched. Then came their combo. Stone spikes shot from the ground like an angry porcupine, tearing through the enemy lines. At the back gate, Arya and Kyom slipped in. 2 guards noticed them. Kyom dispatched both with lightning speed. Arya ignited her flame sword, cutting down reinforcements before they could even scream. Down the stairs they reached the slave cells. Kyom announced herself as a Genji ninja and broke the locks. Arya cut down any stragglers who got in their way. Soon, Ark and Gali rejoined them from the front, rubble and smoke at their backs. Front gate's clear, Ark said, brushing off dust. Mostly because there's no gate anymore. They freed all the slaves except those in a back building. Reinforcements were coming fast. I'll hold them off, Gali said, already charging back toward the chaos. Ark and Kyom pressed forward, reaching a strange underground door. Inside were more cells, and the corpses of Kyom's clanmates. Her heart broke. We were too late. Ark placed a hand on her shoulder. We save who we can. That's what matters. Above, Gali fought valiantly, holding off waves of soldiers. Ark teleported the freed prisoners out in groups until the last was safe. Then he turned back. Arya, Kyom, you protect them. I'll finish this. He joined Gali in one final devastating assault that leveled the entire compound. When the dust settled, they teleported back. Kyom wept as Ark brought the fallen ninja bodies with him. Together, they performed cremation rites under a quiet night sky. Meanwhile, Dicarius fumed over the lack of updates. What are they doing out there? He shouted. Then, suddenly, a blade pierced his. He turned in shock. Styrian? Why? His loyal servant said nothing as Dicarius fell lifeless to the floor. A man stepped from the shadows. Prince Sect. Excellent work, Sect said smoothly. Now the board is clear. Styrian handed him Uriana's pendant. It was recovered from a fleeing soldier. Everyone believes she's dead. Sect smirked. Perfect. I'll declare her death officially. Blame Dicarius, of course. He dropped the pendant beside the corpse and whispered, You lost because you betrayed the Eastern Kingdom. The throne of Rodan is mine. The next morning, Ark and the group sailed away from the battlefield aboard a small boat. So, Ark said, what's our next stop? Kyom smiled faintly. A hidden village on Mount Kalkat. I'll tell you everything there. Meanwhile, Princess Uriana arrived safely in another city. She ran to her sister and hugged her tightly. Her sister gasped. "You're alive? They said Darius killed you." Uriana explained everything: the ambush, Dicarius's death, Sek's rise to power. "But that doesn't prove he planned it," she added. Her sister frowned. "Your pendant was found beside Dicarius's body. That's no coincidence." Uriana's eyes narrowed. "If my attack and Dicarius's death happened at the same time, then Sect orchestrated it all." She took her sister's hand. "But we can't tell the king yet. It must remain secret while I continue my mission. The future of elves and humans depends on it." Finally, we returned to Ark and Arya. They'd parted from the others, heading toward new horizons. Arya sent her bird to deliver their latest discoveries to Danka. The message was clear: the captured elven slaves had been sold in the eastern kingdom of Ravilion. "Another cursed kingdom, huh?" Arya nodded. "Another adventure," he grinned. "And probably another headache." Together, they set off toward Ravilion, ready for whatever awaited them next. We then moved to the kingdom of Ravilion and arrive at the capital, where the imperial palace stands tall and menacing, the kind of place where conspiracies are probably served for breakfast. News reaches the emperor that Dicarius has been killed by Prince Se. The emperor doesn't even flinch. Turns out, he's been the one supplying Dicarius with those delightful little monster rings. He asks about Princess Uriana and is told she has died. His expression darkens, but not from sadness, more like the irritation of someone whose evil plan went slightly off script. It becomes evident that the emperor had a hand in the chaos and had originally planned for monsters to do his dirty work. Since she wasn't killed by beasts, he quickly deduces that Sect must have been behind it all. Classic overachieving prince move. He then inquires about a man named Famba and is told that the Nation Breaker plan is proceeding as intended, because nothing says peaceful empire like a project literally called that. In another scene, we shift to a vast desert teeming with gigantic monsters, dragons, colossal worms, and other nightmare fuel. Amidst them stands a mysterious, awe-inspiring figure whose face remains hidden, probably because revealing it would ruin the suspense, and we're milking that for all it's worth. We return to Ark and Arya as they make their way toward the Eastern Kingdom, crossing a desert region where the skies swarm with flying creatures resembling small dragons, wyverns, the discount version of the real thing. Arya squints at the sky and mutters that there are far too many wyverns, which explains why messenger birds refuse to deliver Amazon Prime orders in this region. She admits she hasn't been able to contact Danka. Ark grins and says he has a plan to deal with the problem, which is usually the last thing you want to hear from him. He begins his preparations, then unleashes a massive lightning spell that turns the sky into a rave of destruction. Electric strikes rain down upon the wyverns, sending them fleeing in sheer terror. Ark lets out a sinister laugh, looking like he just unlocked his villain DLC. Then he turns around and sees Arya and Pont lying on the ground, half-cooked from the blast radius. His laugh dies instantly. "Ah, collateral damage," he mutters, rushing to heal them. "Smooth move, hero." Meanwhile, somewhere up on a distant mountain, a figure watches through a spyglass, jotting notes onto a scroll like a fantasy paparazzo. Sometime later, Ark, Arya, and the rest of the group are sitting in a small and discussing their next destination. Arya explains the route that leads to the Emperor's palace, but Ark notices her expression tighten. When he asks why, she admits the Eastern Kingdom isn't like the West. The elves here live under constant danger. Her voice carries that tone of someone who's about to drag you into a moral side quest. As they talk, a strange man approaches and asks if they were responsible for the magic that shook the skies that morning. He introduces himself as Crossy, and surprise, he's the same guy who was spying on them earlier. Arya immediately recognizes what he is: a reader elf. She panics and covers his ears, scolding him for showing himself so openly in a human village. But to her shock, the villagers don't even care. They wave and smile at Crossy like he's the town mascot. He sits with them and explains that he's lived in this village for 10 years and everyone knows and loves him. Arya explodes. "How can you live among humans knowing what they've done to us?" Crossy, cool as ice, replies, "You say that, but you're literally traveling with a human and a spirit creature." Arya blinks. "That's different." "Ah, sure," he smirks. Ark steps in before things get awkward enough to need popcorn. He asks why Crossy came to them. Crossy explains he's a biologist studying monster behavior, though lately things have been getting weird. Monsters are more aggressive than usual, and he needs help collecting samples. Arya, of course, shuts him down. "We don't have time for side jobs." But Crossy, ever the salesman, pulls out a map and waves it like a limited time offer. This leads directly to the Empire of Ravilion. Arya narrows her eyes. "Were you eavesdropping on us?" Ark cuts in, "Already sold." "Who cares? That map's gold." Crossy sweetens the deal, offering them a copy of his monster research notes. Ark's eyes light up like a kid promised extra dessert. "Come on, Arya, just one little monster hunt?" She sighs and gives in. Crossy smiles. "Meet me at the gate in the morning." That night, Ark and Arya share a quiet moment. She stares out the window, lost in thought, wondering if elves and humans could ever coexist. Ark considers saying something comforting, but wisely decides silence might save his life. At dawn, they meet Crossy, apologize for being late, and start the journey. They ride in 2 carriages, but Arya soon wrinkles her nose. What is that smell? Crossy way too casually says, oh, that's the monster corpses. We're using them as bait. Arya just stares. You what? Ark meanwhile looks intrigued. So what are we hunting exactly? Crossy explains that it's a sandworm about 5 meters long that hides underground during the day and emerges at night. Its weakness is fire, but it's fast. Like annoyingly fast. Before Ark can comment, Arya glances out and notices the other carriage is gone. Oh, Crossy? A second later, the ground erupts. A massive sandworm bursts out of the desert, 30 meters of pure nightmare fuel. Ark gapes. You said 5 meters. Crossy yells back. I might have miscalculated. The worm lunges. Arya fires a blast of flame that barely singes it. The creature roars and slams down, but Ark jumps in, grabs the beast midair, and slams it into the ground like he's auditioning for a wrestling championship. In the center of the worm's body, they notice something glowing, a ring. When Ark finishes it off, the ring vanishes. Well, he says, wiping sweat, guess that's one way to do pest control. They haul the monster's remains back to the village, where Crossy hands over the promised map and research book. Thanks for your help, he says. Arya, still skeptical, asks, why live among humans? Crossy smiles softly. Because I love them. Arya blinks. You what? He continues, people who've never lived among humans only see their flaws, but those who do can see their other side. He looks away thoughtfully. I believe that one day elves and humans will live together in peace. Arya scoffs. That's nearly impossible. Crossy grins. Maybe. But there's a city called Lamra where the ruler married an elf woman. Arya freezes, blushing. Wait, you think I should? Crossy laughs. Relax. She was a priestess he saved. It's a love story, not a proposal. Arya glares. Ark's trying not to laugh. Crossy just grins like a man who enjoys chaos. After saying their goodbyes, Ark and Arya continue their journey. Eventually, they arrive before a massive gate, the entrance to the city of Chu, marking the border of the Eastern Kingdom. The moment they step inside, they're met with heavy security, soldiers everywhere. Arya sighs. This will be harder than I thought. They agree to split up to search for information about the elves, promising to meet at sunset. Ark spends the day questioning locals and gathering rumors. By evening, he's pieced together tales of a fortress in the east that makes strange noises at night, monsters lurking near the city edges, and mysterious disappearances. Still no word on the elves though. Figures. As he's about to leave, a scream echoes down the street. Ark rushes toward it and finds a young girl surrounded by thugs. One steps forward and sneers, we're taking her to her friend. You got a problem with that? Ark just grabs his wrist and twists. One motion, one scream. The rest try their luck and end up regretting their life choices in about 3 seconds. The girl runs to Ark, clinging to him in fear. Moments later, Arya appears, breathless. What happened? She freezes when she sees the girl hugging him. Who's this? Ark scratches his neck. She was being attacked. I helped. Arya crosses her arms. She doesn't look hurt to me. Maybe she just wanted attention. The girl stays silent, still holding on. Ark looks helpless. Arya glares. You should go home, she tells the girl sharply. They leave the area, tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Ark glances at Arya. Are you upset? She shoots back. No, the kind of no that means yes, absolutely. They continued walking in silence, one embarrassed, one fuming, and Pont wisely pretending to be asleep like a professional avoiding conflict. Meanwhile, the group of defeated men stood trembling inside the fortress. In front of them was Famba, the same man the Emperor had mentioned before, with a massive tiger at his side. Famba glared at them shouting, "You're useless. Can't even bring me food." Then with a twisted grin he added, "Fine, you'll be the food instead." The tiger lunged forward, tearing into them as Famba turned to the monsters in the pit. "Don't worry," he said coldly, "your real meal is coming soon." Cut to Ark and Arya standing in the distance watching the fortress. Arya explained that an elf had been seen there 4 months ago. Ark frowned. 4 months is a long time. She might be dead. But Arya insisted, it's still a clue. With quiet determination, they began sneaking toward the fortress. Moving like shadows, they slipped inside unnoticed. The hallways were eerily empty, echoing only their footsteps. Suddenly, Arya stepped on a brick in the wall, triggering a hidden door that creaked open. As they descended the stairs, the pungent stench of beasts filled the air. The deeper they went, the stronger it grew, enough to make Ark wish for a nose filter. Finally, they reached a massive gate guarded by 2 sentinels. Without hesitation, Ark lunged at one while Arya took down the other, knocking them both unconscious. They opened the gate and stepped into an underground prison lined with dark cells. Arya noticed patches of animal fur on the ground, not exactly a comforting sign, and they pressed onward until they reached another door. When they opened it, they were hit by the scent of blood and decay. A vast subterranean chamber stretched out before them, the floor slick with crimson. From the shadows, Famba appeared, his grin sharp and mocking. "Who are you?" he sneered. "You've arrived just in time. I was about to feed my beast." His gaze then landed on Arya, and his smirk widened. "You'll be mine from this day forth. Kill the scrap beside you and come to me." Ark's eyes widened as Arya turned on him, her movements unnatural, her eyes lifeless. "What have you done to her?" he shouted. Famba only laughed. "You'd better worry about yourself." Arya attacked with inhuman precision. Ark realized immediately she was under Famba's control and tried breaking the spell, but his attempts failed. Then we glimpse Arya within a dreamlike realm where her sister's voice urged her, "Wake up, you must continue your training. In weakness you'll save no one." Back in reality, Arya continued to strike at Ark relentlessly. He refused to hurt her, desperately searching for a way to lift the curse. But as he looked at Famba, he noticed something strange. The man wasn't casting any magic. Then atop Arya's head, something twitched. Ark called out to Pont, who leapt toward her, diving beneath her cloak and revealing a hidden beast latched to her. Ark blasted it with fire magic, killing it instantly. Arya collapsed, unconscious and free at last. Famba chuckled. "Clever Arkansas, you deserve a prize." Then, with a wave of his hand, he revealed his true power. He was a beast mage, controlling creatures with magical rings. "Tonight," he said with a sneer, "you'll be dinner for my pet." A colossal tiger appeared behind him, growling as it pounced. Ark demanded, "Where are the elves who were here 4 months ago?" Famba replied with mock indifference, "I don't quite remember. Creatures from all races come here. Most were sent to the Empire for experiments. The rest," he smirked, "my beast enjoyed them." Before he could laugh again, his tiger's head hit the ground, cleanly severed. Ark's fury burned in his eyes. "There will be no mercy for you today." Famba, unshaken, struck the ground with his whip, summoning a wave of monsters. "You'll need more than that," Ark muttered, cutting down the beasts in a blur of steel and magic. Then Famba shouted, "Watch your friend." Ark turned. Arya was under attack. Before he could move, a torrent of water surged, trapping the creature. Kaomi had appeared. Ark blinked. "How did you get here?" She smiled faintly. "Arya knew. She just didn't tell you." Ark groaned. Some teamwork this was. Before they could speak further, the ground began to shake violently. Famba laughed. "Finally, the feast has awakened. You're late, but you'll do." The earth cracked open, and from the depths emerged a colossal 5-headed beast, the legendary Hydra. The air trembled as it roared. Ark and the others barely escaped through teleportation, reappearing on the surface. Kaomi's eyes widened. "That's impossible. No human can control a Hydra." Ark noticed 5 glowing rings embedded across its scales and muttered, "Unless he's cheating." Kaomi urged retreat, but Hydra had already spotted them. Its terrifying gaze locked on, and Ark shouted, "Run!" But before they could move, it attacked. Elsewhere, Famba watched the chaos with satisfaction. "The failures have been wiped out," he said. "Now, my lord, let us return to the past." His memory played out. Once he had argued with his tribe, demanding recognition. "My power is great," he had shouted, but the elders dismissed him. Later, before the emperor, he declared, "I am a beast mage." The emperor smiled coldly. "Prove your worth, and I shall grant you power beyond your dreams." Back in the present, Famba grinned triumphantly. "With this strength, no one can stop me. Master Bi will bow before me." He commanded Hydra to march toward the city, destroying everything in its path. But amidst the chaos, Ark and the group reappeared. His shield had activated just in time, saving them from certain death. Kaomi gasped. "That shield withstood that?" Ark shrugged. "Quality craftsmanship." They searched for Arya, but she was gone, until she appeared above them, floating, her body glowing with strange energy. "Famba's control took hold of me because of my weakness," she said, "but now I'm awake. We will bring him down and make him regret everything he's done." She turned to Arkansas. "Hydra is heading toward the city. What will we do?" Ark's expression hardened. "I'll stop it." Kaomi warned, "That creature can destroy nations." Ark's only reply, "Then it's a good thing I'm not a nation." At the emperor's palace, a servant informed him that Hydra's evolution was complete and Famba's rings were ready. The emperor rested his chin on his hand. "Then I shall decide Famba's fate myself." Back in the city, alarms blared. Civilians fled as soldiers readied for battle. Hydra loomed over the walls, its roar shaking the heavens. Just as it struck, a beam of light intercepted its attack. Ark soared, but the hit did nothing. Hydra retaliated, smashing the ground as Ark dodged, countered, and sliced through one of its heads, only for it to regenerate. Of course, he muttered. It has DLC. Hydra struck again, grabbing Ark midair. Is it sacrificing its own head to crush me? He thought aloud just as his magical shield flared, obliterating the head holding him. Seizing the moment, he unleashed a Holy Knight skill, a colossal blade descending from the sky, cleaving through 3 heads at once. But before he could celebrate, the heads began to grow back. Figures, he sighed. Desperate, Ark invoked forbidden magic, summoning a beast from beyond, ever. The creature appeared, ready for battle. Meanwhile, Arya and Kaiomi followed Pont through the forest to Famba's location. Arya wasted no time, hurling a fire strike at him. Famba dodged easily. You came to kill me? Didn't you see the Hydra's power? Arya replied sharply, that's the Hydra's power, not yours. You're nothing. Famba, furious, summoned beasts from every direction, but Arya cut them down effortlessly. Kaiomi struck the tattoo on Famba's chest, the source of his control. The connection snapped, and Hydra was finally free. Famba panicked. Arya stepped forward, her blade glowing. I was only following the Emperor's orders, he screamed. Then apologize to him when you see him, she replied, burning him to ash. At that moment, Ever tore 2 of Hydra's heads clean off. The beast tried to flee, but Ark blocked its path, grabbed its tail, and hurled it skyward. Ever, now. The summoned beast struck with overwhelming force, vaporizing Hydra completely. As dawn broke, Ark checked on Arya and Kaiomi. A messenger bird arrived for Arya, carrying a letter from Dina. Princess Uriana had received the elder Fangaz, and Arya's father was with them. In the royal hall, Uriana declared that the mission to find the Alpha would now fall under Rodin's kingdom, acknowledging that humans had broken the ancient pact. She vowed to atone for it. Fangaz asked, what is your true reason? Uriana explained that her brothers, Princess Sect and Darius, were aligned with rival kingdoms that despised other races. If either ascends the throne, the Alpha will suffer again. I ask for your support to protect both our peoples. Fangaz agreed. For coexistence between humans and Alpha, he said. Uriana extended her hand. The age when we live together is near. He shook it firmly. A new era began. Later, Ark and the others continued their journey. Arya seemed thoughtful. Ark asked, aren't you happy about what we heard? She replied, I'm just surprised humans are willing to stand with the Alpha. Do you think coexistence is truly near? Ark only smiled, offering no answer. Meanwhile, Prince Sect fumed upon hearing of Uriana's survival and success, suspicion tearing through his court. Uriana herself lay awake, realizing she had been given a second life, one she would not waste. Far away, the Eastern King received news of Famba and Hydra's deaths. He chuckled darkly. No matter. I just want to know who killed the Hydra. Finally, Ark walked beside Kaiomi and Arya. Now I can return to my simple duties, he said. The two stared at him in disbelief. You just killed a legendary beast, Arya said flatly. Ark removed his mask and Kaiomi yelped, hiding behind a tree. Arya laughed. I've never seen you without the mask before. Ark chuckled. Guess it's time I lift this curse too. He asked Kaiomi if he could visit her clan. Still peeking from behind the tree, she nodded. And so, the three set off toward Dinha, unaware that peace as always would be short-lived. And here the first season of the anime comes to an end. If you made it this far, let me know your favorite part in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button to support me in continuing these videos. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode and activate the notification bell so you can be the first to comment and get pinned. Until next time.